Hey YouTube, this is Ben Yessel. How's it going?
How's it going?
I'm going to just kind of focus on a few, maybe not a few, but several related maybe things that perhaps I've touched on again in the past, but this will go a teensy bit different direction than I've gone before in some areas. But I'm kind of focusing on uh, 80s to early 90s um, certain aspects of movies and media, but I'm going to zero in on all things Matthew Broderick. So it's kind of a Matthew Broderick related, um, video. So, and of course, the movies I'm going to be touching on or focusing on a little bit with this video are, of course, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, also WarGames, and there's another one. Is there another one? It might be just those two I'm going to be focusing on. Um, yeah, just if anything else comes to mind, I'll mention it. But so, starting with the more popular of the two, perhaps Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So, I'm sure that this should be a very, very familiar movie to most of you guys. But if for whatever reason you haven't seen it, or you're in a different country, or whatever, I'd recommend seeing it if you can, because you're gonna love it. Anybody who doesn't like this movie, something's wrong with them. Anyway, so this is kind of like, well, it's filmed in North Chicago, or it's a North Chicago kind of American culture that's coming from. So predominantly white, middle to upper class, high school age stuff, and I won't necessarily just talk about the plot of the movie. What I wanted to focus on was, growing up, seeing this, having everything else, and what's going on in my life and everything. Ferris Bueller was kind of like the guy. You might think he was like. There's a lot of folks that we often think have more friends or more liked, seem to be more liked in junior high or high school by a lot of people. We often might envy them, but in real life, the kinds of people, as we become more observant about people in general, on some level at least, it's that you have a lot of different kinds of people, obviously, and sometimes certain kinds of people have a harder time meeting people like them, more or less, in high school. Or that's the usual struggle. Some people have an easier time, and that's about it, really. As far as I'm talking about the popularity factor, right? The cool factor. So, Cameron in this movie is obviously the less social of the small group of him and Ferris and his girlfriend. Played by Mia Sara, of course. So Cameron's kind of, but he's also very uptight, and he's very serious, and he's very anxious about a lot of things, but he does follow the rules. He always follows the rules. He does what's expected. So Ferris, of course, is very, very clever. He's very socially perceptive, and well, not insanely so, but for a high schooler, he's on the more perceptive side in some respects, because you do see a side to him that can be a little naive as well. I won't say what it is. I won't spoil too much about the movie, but so Ferris and Cameron are kind of like two different personalities that relate very well to each other, because they kind of balance each other out. Where one is very serious, the other one's kind of less so. Right? Where one is very responsible, the other one is not as much. But maybe he's responsible enough so that he can function well in society. He can do okay. The girlfriend that Mia Sara plays is just kind of a pretty face. But has some, okay, not just a pretty face, but she has her own way about her that helps Cameron kind of get out of his little bottled up life. So I always thought there's so many different scenes to this movie, and when they actually go to, I won't say okay, I won't spoil the movie too much, but when they take a trip, right? They take a road trip, not a road trip, but they take a trip to downtown Chicago and stuff, and they do lots of fun stuff there. I'm leaving a lot of stuff out on purpose. I'm not talking about the principal so much and all that stuff. It's kind of fun with the movie, how the movie. There's a lot of fun things about the movie, and we love it so much because there's so many fun things about it. And it's also like one of our things we always wanted to do when we were younger. Is you'll see if you see you'll find out what I'm talking about as you see it. But yeah, I mean, something about Matthew Broderick, because how he plays Ferris Bueller. It's kind of he's kind of like the guy, yeah, seriously, in real life, Matthew Broderick is a great buddy to have. He's actually a really cool guy, and the way he plays Ferris is perfect. Ferris is like the guy that is the best at avoiding conflicts with people. He knows how to avoid conflicts. He knows how to deal with it. He can take some heat, right? But he does seem to be kind of a little bit effortless in life. He does seem to kind of float through life, having things go his way, and that's part of the humor of the whole movie. And his sister is like having a cow about it, But yeah, we always, it's a kind of life we would like to have more of. We would like to have more things go our way. We would definitely like life to be less stressful. We'd like to, hey, free money, or hey, all this stuff. I don't know, you can just go down the list of all the things that Ferris is either given or kind of has his way, and he's able to skip. Well, I don't want to spoil too much for you guys, but there is something else I'm touching on more here in a second, because the other movie, WarGames, is a very different movie. You see a more, in a way, dramatic side to Broderick's acting. That's Broderick. And, I love the whole movie. It's where Ferris Bueller is a little bit more appealing maybe to people that are more into the funny comedy thing, or just fun movies, right? Just fun, right? WarGames is a little bit more along the lines of computer game geeks and stuff. It's just, Northwest Seattle. So, Ferris Bueller is set in Chicago. WarGames is set in basically the West, specifically Seattle. Seattle and Colorado, where they have the missile silo. So it's, I think it's John Wood is in it. And then, of course, Ali Sheedy, I think. But what other than Matthew Broderick being in both these movies, and they're both outstanding movies, outstanding. It's just that, it is great to have a friend like Matthew Broderick in real life. You say, that's just the character he plays. No. Actually, he's a pretty cool guy in real life. He really is. And it's part of, you see that come through in his acting, and even in like The Cable Guy, right, where it's a completely different movie from like a later time and he's older. The people that made that movie knew that Broderick would be perfect for this role because he was the perfect nice guy as the chemistry between him and Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey was the perfect maniac, right? Yeah. And then Matthew Broderick's this sweet guy. He's just really nice, and he's just really, he's got his little things. Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's just perfect. I mean, yeah. I can't. Yeah. So, but that's the, why, one of the reasons why these movies are so relaxing. And of course, Matthew Broderick is also in Lady Hawk, and Lady Hawk, was a great movie and everything, but he played the Philip the thief or whatever. But he's just, Matthew helps you feel so relaxed. He helps you feel just nice. It's very pleasant. He's a very pleasant guy. And I know he did like also like oh, The Music Man. He did some stuff with Nathan Lane, like the Mel Brooks comedy, Springtime for Hitler. He did all the. There's some other stuff. I know his other stuff he did, but I'm focusing on WarGames and Ferris Bueller here a little bit more. And the movies like these movies, and also anything John Hughes. I think he did. I know what other ones he did. I have to go back and look at specifically what he did, but he also did like The Breakfast Club and stuff, even though Broderick wasn't in it. But Ali Sheedy was in Breakfast Club, but I get these directors confused. But I know what John Hughes did, and I think I'm not sure if he did. Oh, it was John Landis did Animal House. So, but it's great to see movies like this, even if we know them already really well, because they help you feel. I would think it definitely helped me feel more happy, relaxed, good-natured. So a lot of times we watch movies not because we haven't seen them before. We have seen them before, but it's because of the way they help us to feel. If we see it a gazillion times, we'll see it even more. That's the magic of some of these movies, especially Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The crazy thing is we don't really envy Ferris. We do, and we want to have life more like that. It's true, but we also it's one of those movies that helps you feel like you can be more forgiving to yourself for how life goes sometimes. You might not get straight A's. You might get fired from your job. You might have financial troubles. You might have your wife divorce you. You might have your girlfriend leave you. You might, you just keep going. And, Ferris does have a lot of great things happen to him, but he also has a lot of crud happen to him. Maybe you don't always see that in the movie, but you can expect that, if you get away with stuff and you keep thinking you can get away with certain things, at some point, nope. Everybody has to step up or, I don't know. But it's, I don't know. It could be that after Cameron has a chat with his dad, and his dad explains to Cameron how much money was lost from that car, but then Cameron says, but you don't love me, like, you ignore me, you pay attention to your car, and Cameron and his dad go through all that crap, which they don't show in the movie, and Cameron actually tells some Ferris even some of what happened, because it would probably be a pretty heated conversation, to say the least. I bet you Ferris would feel terrible, absolutely terrible, even more for having the gumption to ask for Cameron's dad's Ferrari. But we all know why he asked for it. But it was, you'd think that maybe Ferris would want to work for a while and pay back his dad or something like that. But that would take some serious dough. I don't know. But that's the way, it's great in fiction. I hope that never happens in real life for anybody. But at some point, Ferris definitely has to grow up some more, right? We know that. And at some point, Cameron has to even put his foot down some more and say, no, it's not going to be this way. It's going to be my way. And I'm responsible, and I know what I'm doing. Okay. And, so hopefully they learn. I think everybody's wanted this, in a way. I'm sure that we want to see a Ferris Bueller too. We do want to see a Ferris Bueller's Day Off too. But I think Matthew Broderick probably would want that as well. I think he's talked about that before as well. But I think what we really wanted was just to have more of a series. Or maybe that would take away too much of the magic of the original movie. And believe me, I can't tell you, there's all these movies. I hate to use the word franchise again. I hate that word. But there are all these movies that people say, oh, well, this is a really popular movie. Whoa, let's make some more money off of it. And then, of course, the remakes from Hollywood are stinky, right? So nobody, and absolutely no one, wants to see that happen to Ferris Bueller. Especially me, right? But no one wants to see it. But if every single either TV episode or made for whatever little mini movie or whatever it was, if it was as good or better than the original Ferris Bueller's Day Off, then we'd be like, yeah. And the best way of doing that, honestly, is having someone like John Hughes direct it. Now, I don't know offhand what state John Hughes is in. I'm not sure. I honestly couldn't tell you if he's dead or not. I just haven't looked him up for a while. But, it's... So there's that whole conversation, right? I would love to see more Ferris Bueller. I'd be watching that all day. that would be... That would draw a bigger crowd than Karate Kid if it was done the right way. The new Karate Kid stuff on YouTube, Premium. Oh yeah, it would be very... If it was done right, and it had the same spirit, the same jokey stuff about it, it's just the same carefree nature about everything, the way that everybody was, yeah, it would kick Karate Kid in the tush, right? But Karate Kid's already off and rolling, and we don't have a Ferris Bueller, and there's a very good chance that Ferris Bueller will be botched because John Hughes knew precisely what he was doing. There's so many times when he was tapping into our high school teenage psyches and saying, hey, wouldn't it be amazing if this happened, or wouldn't it be awesome if this happened, or this happened? It's like it kept you hopeful. Even if these things have never panned out in anyone's life the way they wanted things to pan out, it kept us hopeful. And to be hopeful is a lot more important and a lot better way of being than to be depressed and supposedly realistic. I mean, if you're hopeful, you're going to have more enjoyment for life. You're going to be happier. You're going to have more zest for life. You keep getting beaten down, but I'd say you keep picking yourself up and trying again. That's always better than being depressed and realistic. Anyway, Ferris Bueller helps you to, I think, it helps most everyone to kind of just lighten up a little bit sometimes, right? Anyway, so, and WarGames, just amazing. I didn't want to talk just about that stuff. But I wanted to say that, there are times when you really ought to have either WarGames or Ferris Bueller or something like that handy on a DVD so you can pop it in and be like, my life stinks right now. But after watching this, which will take no physical effort on my part other than putting the DVD in, I will be happier. Right? Right? And if I'm not happier, let's try something else. There's always other similar 80s movies like that. Just, I don't know. Again, it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind how we don't have any movies like that anymore. Why? Just, I don't know. You tell me. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye for now.